This is Basel, third largest city in Switzerland and nearly 2,000 years old. Now Basel sits on the Swiss border with France and Germany and has become sort of a cultural mecca. The city is largely German-speaking and is overflowing with art, libraries, theaters, and impressive architecture. Basel also hosts some of the largest exhibitions in Europe, including the increasingly popular Baselworld. Baselworld has become one of the most important events in the watch and jewelry industry, attracting over 100,000 people from over 100 countries every single year. Now, whether they're journalists, exhibitors, or horology experts, everybody comes here with one thing in mind: time. While there's a lot to admire about Baselworld, this also happens to be my first time here. Excitement and anticipation rises and preparations are well underway as legions of visitors and VIPs flock the grounds of the Messe in the town of Basel. I thought I'd check in with a few friendly folks from the industry, fellow spin doctors as some may call them, for a little Watch Fair 101, the lowdown on what's hot, what to expect, and what to look out for. So tell me a little bit about your website. It was a blog at first, right?
Right, so it kind of evolved from what started out as a blog on Tumblr to a really full-featured online magazine. So we're called Hodinkee, and we're all about wristwatches all the time. We'll tie in some other lifestyle things like vintage cars and fashion and these things from time to time, but it's really about getting a young generation of guys excited about wristwatches, and we want the idea of wristwatches to be cool again.
How do you make wristwatches cool? Because like, I got a smartphone. It's got the time, it's got the weather.
Absolutely.
So tell me, why do I need a wristwatch?
I mean, so one of the phrases we throw around all the time is every guy's a watch guy, he just doesn't know it yet. I mean, guys like gadgets, they like toys, they like, it's the same thing that attracts a lot of guys to cars, to sports equipment, to these kinds of things. And once you start learning about the technology and about the mechanics and about what goes into producing a mechanical wristwatch, it's hard not to get excited about it. I think once you really see what's on your wrist and what's inside and what makes it tick, to be a little cliche, it really gives you a whole different level of understanding.
So what are you looking forward to this year? Like, is there anything that you went nuts for this year?
I think, well, there are many fantastic things. One thing to remember is that there are thousands of brands in here. We're all here to see all of the watches. There's always something good. If every brand has at least one good thing, well, then that's thousands of things, which you will never see all of them.
Right.
But I guess the challenge really is to find which ones you want to see in person.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take about 8 months, 9 months before the pieces arrive in the local markets.
Right.
Yeah, so you won't see it in the flesh again till then, or next year.
Sure. So are you like a kid in a candy store in there?
I won't say it's like a candy store, but it's a great place to be if you really want to be there. Because if you go to a car show, if you don't like the cars, you can always look at the girls. That's fine. Or if you go to the fashion runways, whatever, you can enjoy the parties, whatever. Yeah, the parties are okay, but really you're looking at watches and they're all round. If you have like 20 appointments in one day, which is not unusual, they're all round. So you'd be like, I saw a really great watch today. It was round, it had hands, it was black, it was a gold version, a steel, yeah. But if you like it though, then you will remember things because you'll know what to remember.
Yeah. So how many years have you been coming to Baselworld now?
This will be my 4th year.
Your 4th year?
Yeah.
So you're getting up there. This is my 1st year.
Oh,
Give me some tips. What are some tips on how to deal with Baselworld? Because I'm not sure if I'm dealing with it properly yet.
Well, just make sure that you leave a lot of empty space in your bag because you'll be collecting a lot of press kits and brochures and books and gifts. So yeah, and make sure you get all your schedule organized properly because we'll have like back-to-back appointments every day for like the next 4 or 5 days.
With these guys giving me the bigger picture, it looks like a celebration of passion and perfection lay within the luxury halls of the Messe. Now, before initiating myself into the dazzle of Baselworld, before meeting up with the big boys and their big toys, I thought I'd spend a day out to unwind, to better understand and appreciate time. Away from the hustle and bustle of it all, I traveled by rail to where it all began, to the town of Time. A place doesn't simply become a UNESCO World Heritage Site for nothing. Le Chaux-de-Fonds deserves all the praise that comes with its time-honored title. The highest city in Europe, 1,000 meters above sea level, started out as a farming village. While this may seem to be a place where time stood still, you need to look a little bit closer to see the bigger picture. From its quaint charm and astonishing infrastructure, Le Chaux-de-Fonds is a unique place, an entire town that revolves around time. Tourists flock to Switzerland. They come here for the glaciers or to go hiking or go skiing. And some tourists come here for the Swiss tradition of horology. Now, I've already seen some of the newer innovations in watchmaking, but here in the sleepy town of Le Chaux-de-Fonds, we're going to check out the history and heritage of timekeeping. To explore the exceptional townscape of Dauphin, to learn of its past and present in horology, I'm to be shown around by a true man of time, a man who knows it all, a man named Wolfie. Yeah, and why is this the center of the world of watchmaking? I mean, this is basically a little town in the mountains, right?
Look, the town has developed very rapidly with watch industry, and to give you some figures, by 1900, more than 55% of all watches sold in the world came from this town. And the city of La Chaux-de-Fonds went from 12,000 inhabitants in 50 years to 37,000, more than 3 times. It's because we had a very strong Jewish immigration starting 1790. And you know, Jewish people are very good in business, have contacts all over the world. So the watch industry became very international. Now, if we take this in the relationship of today, all of Switzerland makes, let's say, about 3% of the world marketing quantities, but over 70% in value.
Oh, so all the quality, all the really high quality crafted stuff is coming from...
A typical watch from here is over 100,000 Swiss francs.
What?
If you want a very complicated one, a very nice one, without any diamonds on it, just a mechanical, very complicated watch, starts maybe about 250,000 Swiss francs, can go over 1 million Swiss francs. That means about 1.2 million US dollars.
What? I'm in the wrong business. I should be making watches. Teach me to make watches so I can sell something for $250,000. That's crazy.
Yeah. But while we'll stand here, maybe one thing. Why did La Chaux-de-Fonds start in watchmaking? It's because the farmers here had nothing to do during 6 months of the year because there was a lot of snow.
They were bored.
They were bored. So they started making small tooling. And then they went into making components for the watchmaking. And there was a certain gentleman in our neighbor town, Locle, Daniel Jean Richard, who more or less started a system which we call établissage. That means he gave the farmer some raw material and drawings, and in the winter they made small parts which he collected in spring to assemble into a watch.
We proceed to explore the townscape, and as we go along, it dawns on me more and more of the ever-present legacy is imprinted all over town, from landscaping and town planning to little touches along the street, all in the name of timekeeping.
Look, here you have a good example of watchmaking in the past. Naturally wasn't done on a computer screen. Everything was drawn by hand. Like here you have to set the hands of your watch. Wasn't that easy. It was a very complicated system. So that's why some watches are expensive, because it requires a lot of mechanical work and fine work to do a watch. You have similar thing here for a clock. Yeah. A clock which is fantastic because it has dials here, but the movement is down here. So the connection is through glass tubing, so you don't see, because it's a mysterious clock, because you don't see how it works.
Ah.
Now here you see coming up our Tour Espacité Tower. And even more watchmaking for you. And we'll go up there and we'll have a look on the town so you see the structure of the city.
Great, that sounds like a good idea. Now, while the town's best explored on foot, to get a panoramic view of Les Chaux-de-Fonds' unique cityscape, go up to the 14th floor of the Espacité Tower. The observation deck offers a spectacular view of the city and its surrounding valley, though there's more to this townscape than meets the eye. Wow! And have some of the architecture you're talking about, where the the angle of the sun is going to hit all. Can we see some of that? Or are these all examples of that?
Basically what you see here is a good example. You see very well, starting here on our main street, we have 10 parallel streets going up the hill, more or less oriented towards the sun. Because a watchmaker in his workshop, he wanted a lot of sun. Now this Prussian plan was adapted here for watchmaking in such a way that the distance between the row of houses was chosen in such a way that when the sun is low in wintertime, the shadow of the front house doesn't fall off the lowest level in the house behind, because there could be a watchmaker who needed the direct light.
And is this an example here? Because I can see on this street, this house isn't casting shadow on the lowest level of that building.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
And naturally what you see also here, it's a little bit difficult to see from far away. The greenhouse here has a lot of windows on the top. The White House on the left behind also, you see many windows on top.
With those little windows.
There's also windows for the watchmaker workshop.
Ah, so it's just like extra light to get inside.
Yeah.
Oh.
And by the way, the real light from the south wasn't so important. Eastern and western light is more important because it's not direct. It's not a straightforward light which you get from the sun directly.
Cast shadows, and so you want more of like an indirect sort of light. Oh.
So you see also parallel streets running all the way down here. It stopped. The real parallel strip stopped about by 1910. Then they started making it a little bit different.
Now we've seen the townscape and architecture of the Fonds, I'm still yet to see many clocks around here, but not for much longer, with where we're going next. Seeing as we're on an exploration of time, we're sure to stop in at the International Museum of Horology. The largest clock museum in the world is home to a dizzying array of watches and antique clocks, which all have been painstakingly restored to showcase the complicated movements within. What's the name of this museum?
International Watch Museum, and it's really the biggest one we have in the world, with about 6,000 objects, which is really very important. You have about 3,000 on exhibit continuously, and they're all functioning.
So what's this? I see there's two footprints there. I'm supposed to stand on something?
Right, because it's a sundial with two suns. Now, if you would please move over there and stand on the footprints.
Sure, okay, so I'm standing over here.
And then you look at the shadows and you tell me what time we are at.
This is the 12 and the,
So it's about 3:17.
3:07. I was gonna say this, you're fast. You're very fast. I was gonna say the same thing. I think only the Swiss would build a sundial inside.
Maybe. Because And remember, we have 6 months of snow, so we don't see the sun, so we need to have our own sundial.
Is it the same time if you stand there?
Naturally, even if I stand backwards,
Even if you're backwards?
even if it's backwards, and even you have a woman standing here, it's the same time.
I find that hard to believe. It's always a different time with women. Now, is this a replica, or is this like a real clock tower clock? What is this?
This is a real clock tower clock from the Zurich area, built in Zurich, by the way, in 1619. And it basically shows you how simple is a clock or watch movement, a mechanical one. But basically the system in a mechanical watch today is basically the same. Now, if we see this part, there's a big question, why is this? The problem is people couldn't see the hand when they were in the workshops or the farmer in the field. So you have to audibly tell them the time, and that's why the ringing system comes in with a special wheel here. And I'll just activate it so you see at every hour this lever goes up, starts this thing to turn, the hammer up there will ring the bell. And you get here, I think now we're at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
You have 4 times 3. So basically, what's important in the smaller clocks for centuries, and even in the wristwatches, you had a ringing system, which was basically the same.
It's interesting because you say that it shows how simple it is, and I see there is like a simplicity to it, but it's incredibly like complex. To design this and to come up with this, it's actually kind of boggles the mind when you look at it. So this is a little bit of an ominous sort of clock. What's the deal with this?
It's not surprising what you say, because we call it a mysterious clock.
Oh, a mysterious clock.
And the pendulum, if you would push it, after a few minutes would stop moving. You have to push it a little bit.
Right.
And here you don't see a connection on the top. So there's a little secret behind this.
So that's the mystery. How's the
That's
pendulum?
the mystery about it. You have naturally a movement in here, but it moves the figure you think is standing still. The hand of the lady is moving 1/10 of a millimeter back and forth, which is giving the impulse to the pendulum to keep on running.
The lady's hand is moving?
And basically, it's very old, from 1870.
So her hand is moving, yeah?
Her hand is moving very, very slightly.
But I can-
It's not giving the rhythm to the clock.
But I can see the hand if I look close.
Maybe.
Really?
I never was able to see it, but
I can't see anything. Having unraveled mysterious antiquities and complicated oddities of timekeeping at the museum, it's time for me to keep up with the times and head just a block away to Elmec, Atelier de Micromécanique, for a hands-on session at Watch Assembly. Yes, I am about to build a watch. Really.
now you have a look, see what he's doing. He's trying to put the hands on the watch.
Right.
Would you like to try it yourself?
Yeah, I've got my
Okay,
lab coat.
so
and
just-
I've got my ocular enhancement.
Okay, so sit down here and
I can't see anything.
we'll give you some instructions.
Now I can see, right? Okay.
You don't need necessarily to have it when you do your work.
Oh, I need it. I need it. I feel a lot of pressure with you guys watching me. It's so difficult. Wait, I think I can get it in. God, my hands are shaking so much. Your hands are so steady. What happened? How do you do that? This is how watches are made? No wonder they're so expensive. This is taking every ounce of concentration. Oh my gosh, I was so into it that I sweated so much that this is all fogged up now. Why do I treat this like it's any sport? Okay, and there it is. So then now I've made a watch. It only took 3 hours to do that little step. There, that's nice. It's heavy too. Finally, after all the sweat, anxiety, and thrills of my timekeeping friends, I've assembled with my own hands my very first watch. Having spent an unforgettable day, I make my way back, taking away with me the invaluable experiences that they've fawned. I'm ready, set to take on what's to come next, to embark on one of the world's and years' biggest events, to set foot in Baselworld. Tune into the next episode, where I join the big leagues, meeting up with the big boys and their big toys, where it all glitters and shines in a place that celebrates time.